Okay, so I'm recording this video for the second time because I love this light so much, and I love this company, Charles Wiggins Flashlights, so much that I actually was really rambly and I went kind of off script and into the weeds. So I'm starting over. I'm gonna be focused. Today, we're talking about the new Charles Wiggins Flashlights Pathfinder. This is something that you want to take a look at. Welcome back to Shul Lights. Okay, a little taste of the ramble from the previous video that I deleted. So I received several lights from Charles Wiggins. I asked him to get a mini, Arcadian Mini, which is his new 14500 click, kind of like the micro click. And this is kind of how the ramble started. So let me go over here and give you a little brief taste of the ramble. So my wife got me this for my recent birthday. This is like a heck of a gift. This is a Damascus micro click. This thing is just gorgeous. And the micro click is definitely my favorite 10-440 kind of pen style light on the market. It's just so easy to use, so powerful. It's such a great light. And you can see that I've customized it here with a steel flame clip. This is the collaboration with Mike Bond and Derek Avatake. But I love this light. It goes with me everywhere. Oh, and by the way, that pouch you saw, that's a custom Mama Hanks custom pouch with the Mandalorian pattern. I love this thing. Okay, so that was my gift for my birthday, and I carry it with me every day. I love his lights a lot. And so the cool thing about the Mini, and this is again a little off topic, but it uses a 14500, so the runtime is about 3 times longer than you'd get with the micro click. And if you look, it's almost the same size, right? Well, I'm gonna make a video on this, okay? So go look for it. I'll talk all about how that happened. But this video is about this, which is the Pathfinder. Now, the Pathfinder, I saw him announce that he was releasing it. That's Charles Wiggins. And this was a collab with EDC-V, EDC Vikings. And this is purpose-built. Now, I had heard what the purpose of it was, but still, I just kind of pegged it as yet another mule light, and I don't know, it just didn't really interest me. But he sent it, and I started using it. Now, I want to show you something. Here we go. Look at the condition of it. See all these little marks? That's because the minute I took this light out, I couldn't put it down. Seriously, like I started using it. I went, yes, this is so perfect for what it's intended. Okay, so let's talk about it. What's it supposed to do? So this light it's named Pathfinder. This is to be a perfect walking light in all conditions. Okay, so this isn't meant to, be, finding something. This isn't meant, to see things far away. It is a very, very floody, close up, illuminate your path walking light. Now, it just happens to be that we just went through Halloween. And so on Halloween night, and we just happened to have a new moon for Halloween this year. So there was very little light. And so I took out, my trusty micro click. I took out this. I took out a Laulima Malhini Slim, and I took out a bunch of lights, and I used them, and I know some of these lights very well, and I kept clicking them on and off and trying to use them as I was navigating with my wife and child through Halloween, and this one was the best one for what we were doing, which was going house to house, and let's talk about it, okay? So on a typical light, you've got a reflector or an optic, right? So this Malhini Slim here, you can see that there is a deep reflector emitter in the bottom there, okay? And I got another little 14500 light here. This is the Okluma DC0, and you can see it's got an optic. Now, with these types of lights, they're gonna have a hot spot little bit of corona and spill, right? Like a typical light. They'll have some candela to them, okay? So like on my hand here, you can see that see a spot on my hand, right? Now, this light, the Pathfinder, varies because it has not one, but 2 emitters and no reflector. They're just sitting there on a board and they just pass right through the glass. And so what they do is they give you a perfectly even beam. See that? My entire hand is just illuminated exactly the same. And that's the beauty of this light, okay? So I'm not going to go on and on about this light because if you want the perfect walking light, this is it. It's so good. And it's not just it's a mule, because that's not a one-trick pony. It's designed from the ground up to be the perfect walking light. All right, so let's go into its ergonomics, some sizes and features, and I'll try and make that claim. Okay, so let's take a look at its size first. So here it is on my mat, and I'm going to put it next to some other 14500s. All right, so here's a bunch of 14500s from various manufacturers, okay? Now, you'll notice that it is about the same size as every single one of these. The only exception here is the Arcadian Mini, because the Arcadian Mini is special. And as I said, check out the other video. You'll see how it gets so small. But you can see that if I remove that one, you can see that it is literally just, around 14500 sized. Okay, cool. So what makes it special then? Well, first off, the materials used. Most lights are going to be titanium. If they're custom lights, they'll be titanium, because titanium's a harder metal, and it's just kind of got a little more street cred, right? But the thing is titanium is really bad for thermals and for heat dissipation. So the trick here with a mule is, since it has such low candela, you're gonna have to bump up the lumens a little bit to get it to be as bright as you want over all points, okay? I mean, if you understand this, then I'm sorry if I'm, speaking down to you, but I think some of my audience doesn't really get this. So what I'm trying to say is like with a light like this, which has an optic, right? See, and there's a spot there on my hand. You can see the spot. What I'm saying is I can run this at lower lumens and get that spot to be bright. Whereas to get this to be as bright, I have to run it at higher lumens because it's really illuminating this whole area. Rays are going all different directions. Hope that makes sense. So I guess that's the downfall of mules in general. Look, when we go outside, you're going to see how beautiful the beam is. So the mule is awesome, but it's just part and parcel to the mule is that you got to run it higher amps, and that means more heat. So they thought of that when they built this light. A lot of mules, all they do is just take the reflector out and put a spacer in. The light is the same design it always was, and they just remove the optic, and voila, a mule. This one, built from the ground up. So let's take a look. Notice that if I take a typical light like this, and I take the head off, okay, you're going to see here that the walls of the light are going to be relatively thin, because we're worried about weight. Okay, that makes sense. Let me do another one here. Let's take the Laulima. Okay. Again, you can see that not too thick. There's some threads there. Now, I want to compare this to the Pathfinder. Okay. Watch this. Totally different. See how thick that is? Big, chunky wall. Now, you'd think that'd make it really, really heavy. But it's made of aluminum, because aluminum is a way superior metal when it comes to heat dissipation. So what we got here is we got an overbuilt aluminum light, okay? It's designed to be robust. It's designed for you to knock it around, but it's also designed to whisk away heat, wick away heat, and then dissipate it into the environment. All right, let's take a look some more at this thing. So some other features that make it a really robust light is, for this size, it actually has a pretty large head, really. I mean, let me give you an example here, okay? So let's take a look at, I know this is the Arcadian Mini, which I said has some tricks up its sleeve. It's a little different than normal 14500, but let's compare and contrast. So this guy, if you look at it, it's got this really deep reflector. See how deep that guy is? All right, super deep, okay, all the way down there. And if I unscrew this, you're gonna see that the driver starts quite a ways in. So maybe the driver sits right around here. And if you look, it's a deep reflector. So it's like, you know, deep reflector, driver's right here in empty space. Okay. Now let's take a look at this head on the Pathfinder. Well, it's about the same size, and look how much higher the emitter is. The emitter is way up here. So why? Why is that? You know, and look at this. The driver is actually further out than this is. This is, you know, deeper inset by just a little, okay? So where's all the space going? And the answer is that this thing, you see the sides here? That's not just a spacer, that's the pill on the inside. See the copper? It's got a full copper pill, a thick copper pill that runs all the way through to the bottom here. The driver is separate from the MCPCB, so all the heat here that's produced on the metal core PCB is going to be, you know, in contact with that thick copper pill, and then in direct contact for about, like, you know, this many threads, because it goes all the way to there, right? This many threads with this aluminum head. Then this aluminum head is going to transfer the heat to this thick aluminum, you know, body here. And honestly, when you run this thing on its highest modes and it's producing quite a bunch of heat, you're gonna feel it get hot in your hand. Not hot like to burn you, but you go, oh, that gets warmth. It's designed for you to hold it and for you to be a biomechanical machine with this thing where you help whisk the heat away. So you really shouldn't turn it on high and set it down. You should turn it on high, hold it in your hand, let it be a little hand warmer, and that's part of the magic, okay? Now, let's talk about, now that we've talked about, like, you know, the style of light, the ergonomics a little bit, let's talk about the MCPCB and why there's two different emitters on that MCPCB. Okay, so notice that, let me get a good shot of this. Notice that it says 2 times 3535 right there. So there's two 3535 footprint emitters. Let me get even closer if I can. And you can see that there is a hot lead and then 2 negative leads. So that's what allows you to control, here we go. I can control just the white, 2 different levels, and then the 2000, it's about 2200K on 2 levels of brightness. And that's another one of the beauties of this thing, is that it's a 3-mode light with 2 colored emitters. Okay? There's no programming, there is no, you know, crazy menus to get stuck in, no strobes, no lockouts. It's literally just low, medium, high on the white, low, medium, high on the amber, or 2200 Kelvin, okay? Now, why does this light have 2 color temperatures? Depending on the conditions. So the white light is a 5000K Samsung LH351D high CRI, high efficiency emitter, and it is not green, okay? It actually measures, and I'll show you on the Sekonic here, it measures quite neutral to rosy. It's actually awesome, okay? Let's flip over there. Okay, so I'm gonna go under the video lights here, click it on, do a little measurement, and there you go. So you can see it's just above 5,000 Kelvin. This is right around daylight temperature. The sun averages about 5,200 Kelvin, and you can see that it's under delta UV. So it's a really pleasant, not greenish tint at all, with a high RA. So this is a great emitter. But also it's got the amber. Now the amber is for a whole different purpose. So let me go ahead and show you what that looks like. This is a high efficiency, really warm, see, I'm reading 2400, but don't believe it. It's about 2200. It's just that I'm under the video lights and I'm getting a little bit of extra color temperature here. But It's 2200, and it's, again, a very great tint. It's low CRI, but, you know, here's the thing. If you were going to pick between the two, walking, you would use the white. And the reason you're going to use a white is because you get more lumens, almost about double, okay? So the only reason for the yellow is for when conditions require it, okay? This is a walking light, and if you're using it in the winter when there's snow, you know what white bounce back looks like? It's awful. Well, that's what the low CCT, the, you know, kind of yellowish amber 2200 Kelvin is for. It's kind of candlelight, and it really reduces bounce back. Other situations that really benefit from it is fog, okay? Again, fog, you just don't get that white out that you get from the white light. So this light is, again, just made for walking, and you get to choose depending on the conditions. Now, I live in Southern California, so I've been using the white light pretty much exclusively. And as I said, the white light, you're going to get more bang for your buck, more lumens at the same amps. Let's take a quick look at the lumen tube. Okay, so let's start with the white light on moonlight. And you can see it measures at 1 lumen. I actually believe it to be under a lumen, but you know, I got my studio lights on here, and I'm not using an aperture mask down here. But now let's try the next mode, which is so perfectly at about 100 lumens. That is a really great medium. And then let's go to the high, and the high is just over 400 lumens. And that's awesome because even though the LH351D can do probably 700 lumens, you know, it's not worth it. I mean, it's going to heat up too fast and consume the battery. Now let's take a look at the amber modes. All right, so there's amber, and you can see it's about 1 lumen, same thing. Now let's go to the, that surprises me. I thought for sure that this was going to be around 100 lumens. That surprises me. I thought for sure there's going to be around 100 lumens like the white was. But let's take a look at the high, and you can see the high is less lumens as we predicted. Not as little as I thought. I don't know where I got the idea that it was going to be about half. It's not. But you see we were over 400 on the white light and about 350 on the amber. So again, I mean, that's pretty cool actually, to be honest, because, you know, you still want the lumens even if it's, you know, snowy or foggy. So there you go. Those are the lumens. 3 other things I want to touch on really quickly is it has mode memory. So when you click and you let go, it's going to go right back to that mode when you click next time, okay? So again, moonlight, low, high for both color temperatures, and the last mode you were on is what you're going to resume on, okay? Very easy to use. I mean, there's times that I, you know, wish that I could set something to always come on moonlight. I'm a big fan of that, but I got to be honest. A light like this, a tool like this, okay, so during Halloween, I handed this to my wife, and I didn't have to explain anything. I just told her, it's 3 levels on 2 colors. Just keep tapping till you get to what you want. She was figuring it out. It was really easy. So I kind of, you know, like that. I mean, you know, in this world of forward clicky, reverse clicky, and end dural and all this kind of stuff, it can get really hectic for people that don't know UIs. And this one, you can just pick it up and figure it out. Another thing I want to point out about this light is that for a 14500, so hang on, let's take a look at the back of the Arcadian Mini here. This is a reverse clicky because, again, we're trying to make this light as svelte and as small as possible. And you can see the diameter on the Pathfinder is a little bit bigger, but that's because this is a genuine McClicky. This is a forward clicky McClicky. I love the McClicky. It's just the gold standard. And so it means it's really serviceable. It's robust. I mean, it stood the test of time. And, you know, it's just held in by an O-ring. So you could even service this yourself and pull it out if you want. Also, we got a standard steel flame or Don McClesh, if you want to see it that way, spacing. So you can go with the included clip, or you can, you know, swap it out with your favorite 2-hole clip that is the same style and shape. Now, about the clip, okay? I talked to Charles about this. He intentionally made it super grabby. It is pretty grabby. Like if you look right here, it takes quite a bit of force to flex it up. Now, some reviewers reviewed this light before me, and some people had negative things to say about the clip. But I'll tell you this. I think it's way easier to loosen a clip up than it is to try and solve a clip that doesn't grab enough. I know that if you take and unscrew and flip the clip around and mount it up like this, then it's kind of easy to kind of flex it and work it if you don't want to wait for its break-in period. But I also know that over the time I've been using it, and you can see this light's got some marks on it. I've been using it nonstop for a month. It has loosened, okay? So I would say that it's doing what it needs to do. This light is supposed to be clipped, in some cases, to a backpack or a walking pack, and you don't want this thing to get knocked off. So it is an intentionally really grabby clip, and the body itself, just the shape of it, which, by the way, I love the way it looks. I love this pattern, but it is so grabby right there. So it's just one of those things that if you get it and you find it super grabby, yes, you can flip it around and kind of bend on it. I know that Flashlight Mike mentioned that he bent too hard. He was really torquing on it, and apparently he bent on this V here where the V itself was sticking out. It wasn't flush with the clip. So be careful of that. But otherwise, I would say, you know, if you want something looser, instead of the spring titanium, just put a steel flame clip on there, which is steel, and it's just a little, you know, easier to bend. You know, I told you this light's supposed to be really robust, right? That is not mineral glass. That is sapphire crystal. So this is just a really heavy-duty, chunky light. And I love to keep lights in good condition when I show them on the video, but it was just one of those things where aluminum's tough to keep in pristine condition. And the stonewash on this light is gorgeous. I mean, it's just got this beautiful stonewash. But notice that it's going to pick up character marks. You know, you can see those shiny areas, snail trails we call them, right? Wherever it's been contact with other things. And I have not been gentle with this light. I've been just throwing it in my pocket, letting things like kind of hit it. And I kind of feel like it's picking up character. So I don't mind it at all. And I know that when this gets really, really worn, it's going to look really neat. It's going to look kind of like an antique, you know, kind of like, you know, brassed edges. But I have no problem with it. And I just thought, you know, what really happened, honestly, was I was trying to treat it really nicely. I put it in my pocket. Somehow I got my first snail trail on it. And then I thought, oh, man, you know, what am I going to do? Now when I'm going to do my review and I flip it around, there's going to be that snail trail. And I went, you know what? Heck with it. I'm just going to use it for the next month. Just use it hard. And then people can, you know, kind of see what it's going to look like. So, I guess the last thing I'll say before we go to the beam shots, which really is the reason why the light is so good, is that this was the belle of the ball on Halloween night. This was the light that I wanted to take with me. It was really awesome. So I don't think it's really great for a bedside table light because it doesn't have the ability to turn off the mode memory. I mean, for me, that's a big thing, to always come on moonlight, and there's a non-zero chance this will come on at a different level because it's got mode memory. But this wasn't designed as a bedside table light. It was designed for a pathfinding light, and it is perfect at that. So let's go outside and see how it does. All right, let's do a comparison between the Pathfinder and the Arcadian Mini. The Mini has the deep reflector, so it's going to be way throwy, whereas the Pathfinder is a mule. Let's take a look on the ground in front of me. And so with the Mini, you can see that it's got an intense hot spot, but with the Pathfinder, it's just illuminating the whole area, no problem. Let's take a look on the trees here. Now, the Pathfinder is so floody that it's got very little candela, but it will definitely make this front tree and maybe even this back tree. The front tree being 20 meters, this back tree here being 55 meters. All right, let's take a look at the Pathfinder really quickly here. I'm going straight to high. Oh yeah, look at that. We made that tree, no problem. And let me see here. Oh yeah, no, we're making that tree. You can see the difference when I raise it and lower it. Definitely hitting it. But I mean, it's no comparison to, let's say, this Mini here. See, the Mini is just making this no problem. Whereas the Pathfinder, I mean, it's just a way different beam. But let's take it to my side yard. All right, I'm in the backyard here, and let me go ahead and use the Mini here, and I'm gonna bounce up a couple modes. So this is a typical reflector light. You can see how there's an intense hot spot and then just it falls off. But now let's look at the Pathfinder. Look at that. That's the difference that the Mule makes. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and cycle through a couple modes here. So here's the medium amber, or the medium 2200 Kelvin. Here's the high 2200 Kelvin. And then here is the medium white, and then the high white. Okay, I wanted to demo how walking with a normal flashlight is when you're walking down a sidewalk with some stuff on either sides of the sidewalk and you're trying to figure out where things are. This is kind of how it looks, right? But I want to show you how the same thing looks with the Pathfinder. So this is with a traditional reflector light, right? This is the way it's going to look. Now let's put that away, switch to the Pathfinder. Look at that. It's totally different experience. And I'm moving it around. But it just doesn't even look like I'm moving my light around because it is so floody. And this is on medium, by the way. So if I go to high, you can see it's even brighter. No problem. Let's go inside and check that out. Okay, so I'm inside and I want to show the experience of walking up my stairs here with a reflector set to moonlight. This is what it looks like. Let's try that again, but this time with the Pathfinder. Again, this is on moonlight. So this is moonlight on the Pathfinder. You can see how much nicer that is. Definitely the preferred walking light. Okay, so you just saw the beam shots. I think you kind of know whether you want this light or not. If that did it for you, if looking at that even, beautiful beam and in the contrast between a typical light, if that does it for you, then just get it, because it's robust, it's strong, it's perfect for what it is. Now, because there's so little candela, and I showed that in the beam shots as well, I don't think I would carry this only. It's kind of like a backup light or a purpose-built walking light. And dare I say, the perfect light to pair it with is probably the Arcadian Mini. They share the same battery and they have way different optics, right? Well, I mean, one doesn't have an optic at all. But my point is you got no optic over here. And then here you have like the deepest, most concentrated optic you can get in a light of this size. So these are the two that I'm going to be carrying for quite a while. Charles Wiggins has done it again. Man, that guy makes great flashlights. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Please, consider liking and subscribing. I have not been making as many videos as I typically make, but you know what? The channel's not dead. I'm just more choosy. I'm just really choosing the lights I want to review these days, which actually I think saves you time. You're not watching a bunch of fluff. All right, guys, see you in the next review.